Yeah. And the reason I bring it up is because, it's almost a weird dichotomy as far as Alfonso's fame, because I would argue he's probably less famous here in Canada than he is in,
Yeah.
99% of the other countries around the world, right? Like Connor McDavid walks through, York Street Mall or whatever. He's getting swarmed by people. Alphonso Davies can probably shop from shop to shop and maybe a couple people recognize him. You take Connor McDavid to Brazil or Germany or, England or whatever, he's just a tourist, whereas Alfonso, people are actually going to recognize him, right? So I'm wondering if like that's kind of that missing piece, is that fan engagement, or that whether it's social media or whatever, that is kind of at the precipice, because we can see it. We saw it when they went to the World Cup. The interest in soccer is there, but it's not there all the time like it is for NHL, NFL, NBA, any of those things. So is that sort of what you think is missing from that Soccer Canada, really taking hold of the fans in Canada and moving soccer into the next millennium?
Yeah, that's a fair point. And you're right about like Alfonso being famous, abroad more than he is here. And then there was actually like a TSN kind of commissioned a study about that. I think it was last year or the year before. And yeah, they found that, and they surveyed like over 100,000 people. And they found that Alfonso was the most famous or well-known Canadian athlete on the planet globally. But then when they only considered the Canadian respondents, like he wasn't even in the top 10. Yeah, you're right. It was guys like Crosby and McDavid and whatnot. So you are right about that. I think part of the challenge is that like we were saying, like he's not here in Canada physically, right?
Right.
He's only here like he's in Europe like 10 months a year. Like he comes back in the summer and Christmas holidays for like a couple weeks here and there. But that's it. So he's not physically here. Like his games are on Sportsnet, but a lot of them are on Sportsnet World subscription. You can't really watch him on a regular basis. Even with the national team, it's not like they play like every week, right? You have these international windows, but aside from like kind of a Gold Cup or Nations, like you don't have like all these necessarily a ton of meaningful games. So yeah, it's hard for the national team and Alfonso to be in that consistent spotlight the way like the hockey players are, or that you see them on TSN every single week, right? But I think that's in terms of soccer as a whole, kind of beyond Alfonso, like that's why these new like the Canadian Premier League, like the 3 Canadian MLS teams, there's a new women's professional league on the way. I think that's why these are important, because it will hopefully get soccer on on the mainstream eyeballs on a regular basis, as opposed to just once or twice a year when the national team plays. So I think that's going to be important to help kind of grow the game here.